Good afternoon to you. You're still watching Midday Live. It's now time for us to do business. Wendy has already looked at the issue of fuel shortage as well as matters arising. But we will still carry more on with that particular matter right here after we see fuel shortages in some cities across the country, including Accra, Tema, Cape Coast and Kumasi. So we have the detail of these and more on the business segment this afternoon. My name is Nana Ikiasai. Well, President Mahama has directed Finance Minister Setekbe to release $60 million to the bulk oil distribution companies to release fuel into the system. The Information Minister Mahama Yarga disclosed this on Wednesday. Now, parts of Accra, Tema, Kumasi and Cape Coast are experiencing fuel shortage. You go into the place and you see it rightly bolded written there. And earlier this week, the bulk oil distribution companies had indicated that government has not released over 1.8 billion cedis in arrears. Shortly, we will be speaking with the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distribution Companies, Senyor Hosi, to find out what is next now. Senyor, good afternoon and thanks for joining us on Midday Live.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Now, government has given this directive, or President Mahama has given this directive. Has it been communicated to you, and have you received any money yet?
I'm sorry, I've not been following your program, so may I know exactly what directive you're referring to?
Well, President Mahama has directed by the Finance Minister, that is Mr. Setekwe, to release some amount of $60 million to your company. So we want to find out if that directive has been communicated to you, and if you have received any money yet.
We had a meeting at the presidency, and my knowledge as of this morning is that there were directives for 100 million, not 60 million actually, to be released. But that is not towards the debt, but it's definitely towards our industry. It's $100 million being released to the banks to help deal with the liquidity problems they have over our transactions with their international counterparties. It hasn't got to do with the liquidity problems that we have with the banks, which is the debt that government owes us. So there are two different things.
So does
it's a step towards resolving the problem.
Okay, so does this imply that it is not going to make any difference in terms of distribution?
There are three different things in here. The core problem is the funding confidence in our industry. There's a USD or a forex availability problem. Wow. That is what the banks have with the Bank of Ghana, and that's what this 100 million is to do. The other one also has to do with our indebtedness to the banks as a result of the growing subsidies. The third one has to do with the continuance of subsidies, which will only create more debt. So all these things would have to be dealt with in one form or the other for the banking industry to renew it or re-establish the confidence required to get us doing business. And we also need to have that confidence to continue incurring more debt if we don't really see our way clear on how the mounting debt will be dealt with. It will not also be prudent for anybody to keep selling for more losses.
Now, looking at the amounts being quoted by the BDCs, we have 1.8 billion. That is the money or the arrears owed to the BDCs. But government is also quoting another figure. What is happening?
I don't know about what figure. What figure are you talking about?
300 and that is the arrears government is owing the BDCs. 1.8 billion.
That's an absolute misinformation, and I don't think it was intended that way.
Okay.
There are two levels of the subsidy. There's one that's a forex subsidy, and there's one that's a price subsidy. The price subsidy currently stands at about 304 million, which has been stated. The forex subsidy stands at over 1.5 billion, and that, in principle, is accepted, and that is what is being audited. So I'm not too sure what information you have there.
Why?
And there's been quite some chaotic situation as a result of that pronouncement by Honorable Forson. Okay. The banks have gotten more apprehensive. They have become more reluctant to even cooperate because that is real risk that they are aware of, the entire markets are aware of, and was expecting and was knowledgeable about government efforts towards dealing with it. So if it's being denied, then that's a problem. But I don't think it's being denied. I've spoken with the presidency and officials at the presidency, and it's been reaffirmed to us that government is not reneging on its obligation regarding the forex subsidy. So I will use your medium to encourage the banks not to be apprehensive as they've shown this morning following the news, and be rest assured that we are working together to resolve this.
So, Senor, finally, before you go, whilst you're working together and looking at the pending situation of fuel shortage, do the distribution companies have enough commodity to give out?
Not much. Accessible stocks right now are getting closer to zero. But there are stocks available on the shore, which are under financial hold. Once we resolve this, I think we can get about a week of stock available.
All right, thank you so much for your time. Senor Jose is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distribution Companies, addressing some of the matters arising on the issue of fuel shortage. Well, we look at some other issues this afternoon, and the Minister of Energy and Petroleum, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, has tasked Ghanaians to conserve energy as part of efforts to solve the energy crisis in the country. He said a total of 400 megawatts of power is wasted annually in Ghana. A situation, if not checked, could worsen the energy crisis.
The consumption of energy in its different forms has been increasing exponentially. Demand currently is over 2,000 megawatts, but what is available is less than that, resulting in the current energy crisis nationwide. To help solve the crisis, the Energy Commission, together with its stakeholders, has launched a campaign dubbed Save a Watt. Speaking at the launch, the Minister of Energy and Petroleum, Emmanuel Amakofi-Boa, cautioned Ghanaians to eliminate the unnecessary use of energy daily.
Many of us here pay electricity bills, very high electricity bills. Therefore, we should already know the importance of energy conservation. We save money if we conserve energy. And since the cost of producing any quantum of energy is expensive, we need to be prudent in the use of these energy resources.
He said the lack of awareness has been a major barrier.
I do know that the Energy Commission has since 2009 institutionalized the creation of awareness through its Energy Efficiency and Conservation Month in September of every year. I humbly appeal to corporate bodies to support the Energy Commission in its awareness creation campaigns.
Director of Procurement at ECG, Robert Dramina, appealed to Ghanaians to develop a new attitude towards saving energy.
Consumers who adopt energy conservation practices are able to reduce their monthly electricity consumption by about 30%. This saving translates into lower monthly bills, which in turn enhances customers' willingness and ability to pay their electricity bills.
He said ECG will continue the fight against illegal connections as a means of saving energy. The Save a Watt campaign is part of a series of activities lined up by the Energy Commission and its stakeholder agencies to conserve energy nationwide. A total amount of 70 megawatts has been saved since the first campaign Switch Off Freezers began.
Alright, so as we continue to save energy, remember that our utility tariffs have been increased. We will be looking at its adverse effects later tonight on News 360.